This is part 2 of making a movie clip symbol. And we're in Animate, and we're going to import the files that we've made before. And I made 3 different files, plus I have a file that is a JPEG. So I'm going to show you the difference with using the PNG files and a JPEG file when you're working with Animate. So I'm going to make a new file in Animate. I'm going to just keep it standard, 640 by 480, a frame rate of 24 frames per second, and create. And I'm just going to move things over. I have my timeline. I want you to be able to see everything. So there's that. I have my toolbar here. Make sure that you have your properties and your library open. You want to be able to see your properties for the images and the library. So I'm going to begin by importing my images, file import, and I'm going to import to the library, not the stage. And if you want to hold down Control, you can click on images rather than selecting all the images. You can select just the images you want. If you have a Mac, you want to hold down Command. And I'm going to select these 4 images. The right wing, you'll see, has a PNG and a JPEG, and I'll show you why I use just the PNGs as we had made in the previous video. So open. All 4 of the images come into my library. And notice this little icon. That's the icon for a graphic symbol. We are going to be making a movie clip symbol, which will have a different type of icon. We'll start with a body and bring in the right wing, a right wing PNG, and the left wing. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit here. Keep that moved over and up. And I'm going to drag the wing over, and this is the JPEG. And you'll start to see, you see a little bit of white square around the JPEG image. When I pull this over, you see how it starts to cover up the antenna on the body of the butterfly. That's the problem with the JPEG, is that you have this white border around your bounding box of the image. So we don't want that. That's why we use a PNG, because we have a transparent background and I don't have to worry about covering up a part of my butterfly. So the next thing I'm going to do is select all 3 parts, both wings and the body, and I'm going to make this into a movie clip symbol, because this is what I want to be able to animate. Go up to Modify, Convert to Symbol, Movie Clip, and I'm going to call this, butterflying. My registration point, or my center of this, is going to be in the center. Click OK. And I want you to notice I have a timeline here, and this is for our main scene, which is called Scene 1. The nice thing about a movie clip is I can make a repeated action with a symbol and then reuse it on the stage. And I'll show you how that's done and why it is. It just saves a lot of time. I've selected this. And notice here that icon is the movie clip icon compared to the graphic symbol here. So movie clip symbol, graphic symbol. double click on your this movie clip, and notice up here how this changes. It goes from scene 1 into, it now adds this butterflying, so it goes down into another timeline. This timeline is only for the butterflying symbol, that movie clip symbol. So I can make a separate movie here that I can play repeatedly in scene 1. I'll show you how that's done. We're going to, let's see, what we'll do first is I want to have these, instead of one layer with all 3 parts, I want to have these separate parts. So with everything selected, do a right click and go to Distribute to Layers. And that's what this does. It distributes part 1, 2, and 3, left wing, right wing, body, 2 separate layers. If I turn off these layers, here's the eyeball, I turn those off so that they are not viewable, and you'll notice that layer 1 has nothing on it. So all the things, all 3 parts that were in layer 1 now have been distributed to here. I'm going to delete layer 1 by selecting it, left clicking, and go to Delete Layers. It only deletes the one layer that I had selected. Turning those back on. And I want to set up the frames so that I can build my animation. I'm going to select all 3 of these layers, frame 25, and it doesn't matter. It depends on how much you want to set up for a repeated action. I right click and go to Insert Frame. So this is how long my repeated action is going to be. 25 frames for all 3 parts. The body I'm not going to change. I'm not going to do any action on that. Now when I select this layer, I'm going to select it, and it doesn't matter what frame you're on. Do a right click and create a motion tween. And it's going to say, do you want to convert this to a symbol? It can, yes. So it has another symbol. And then when you notice, when you select that was green temporarily, the motion tween always turns this kind of yellow-orange. Go to the next layer, which is another wing layer. Do a right click and create motion tween. Okay, that to make another, you'll have a couple more symbols here, but we're going to be working with this symbol, butterflying. Now go back to this layer, and we'll go to each one of these. I want to show you what I'm going to do. Right now, when I select this, you'll see that you have a center point, and each of these parts has a center point. So everything rotates. If I go to transform and I start to rotate it, I'm going to undo that, but it rotates around this center point. The problem is I want to squeeze this thing so it looks like it's flapping, but I don't want to have to move it back each time to the body. The problem is it centers and it squishes around that point. I can change that. Grab this point. You have to do it with the transform tool. Here's free transform. Grab that point and drag it right to the body of the butterfly, and do the same thing here with the other wing. Grab that and drag that to the center. There. So now it's going to, when I squeeze in to make this wing look like it's flapping, it's going to squish into the body. So then I don't have to go back and move it back each time that I pull that wing out or push it back in. And I'll show you how that makes it so easy. Now we've set up a motion tween here and a motion tween here. Each time that I go to a different frame and make a change in here, a transform, it's going to record it here automatically. It's going to put in a pose, in a pose, in a pose. So I've selected the free transform tool. I go in and drag, and see how convenient that is. It stays right in place, right at it goes to that center point. There's one flap, and there's it has saved it. I'll go to the next spot, maybe 9, and I'm going to go back out like it is flying, and maybe here, back in, and then I'm going to go to maybe 15, out again, and here, squeeze that in, and then here, so I can have quite a few flaps, and then maybe a short flap, and then at the end, back out again with a wing. I'm going to do the same positions because I want this wing to repeat the wing action that I have here. So I'm going to set them up in the same frames. So I click on frame 5, and this is in the right wing. This is the right wing. And I am squeezing that. So it looks like the wings are starting to fold like it's flying. I go to the next, which is 9, frame 9. I hold down the shift key just so I keep that wing and I don't distort it. And then frame looks like 12, back in again, and then 15, back out, frame 18, in, frame 21, out, and then a little short flap here at the end so it doesn't go in all the way, and then at the end here and out. Now, if I want to scrub through, this is the playhead right here. So I'm going to grab the playhead, put it at frame 1, and look what this does. That's why you use a movie clip symbol, because it's going to make a repeated action with this flapping that I can use and animate all the way through my stage 1. So I'm going to go back to stage 1, and I'm going to save this just in case something horrible happens. And I'm going to call this my animation with flying. And I want to save this in my practice, so I'm saving that so that I have it in the same folder, everything in the same folder here. Here's my little parts, my body parts, and my animation flying. Now I'm back on, let's see, look right up here. I'm back on scene 1, and I want to have this look like, let's see, let's start out with an animation maybe to frame 70. So I'm going to have the butterfly flying around here all the way to frame 70. So I'm going to do a right click, insert a frame, and with a movie clip you have to do a test with control test the movie, and you see how that's flapping? So it's playing through here and looping. What we can do is just check our loop. If you want to check your loop, double click again on your butterfly, and let's just make sure I don't see a loop here. You set your loop up right here. And I'm going to drag back. So this is going to repeat again and again. It just guarantees that it's going to loop. Now I'm going to go back to scene 1, and I'm going to make this a movie for the 70 frames, and I'm going to have the butterfly move around my stage here. Let's make the stage just a little bit smaller so you can see what's going on. We move this back and then up a little bit here, there. So I can see the top of the stage, and I'm going to go back to frame 1. So this is what my frame is. Right now I'm on 70. I selected this. I put in the number 1 and hit enter, and I'm back on frame 1. I want to start this. I'm going to start this over here, and I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, like it's not that close to us, and rotate it. I'm doing all of this with this free transform tool. So I'm going to have it move in right there. I don't know if I'm going to have that loop. So we have the first here, but I haven't set up any motion on this yet, any tweening, and I want automatic tweening. So I'm going to right click on this timeline, go up to create motion tween. It now has the motion tween. There's that orange. And I'll go to frame 5. And then I move this, the butterfly on, and look, see, it has that pose right here. And then you see these little dots? That is, each dot is a frame. So frame 1, 2, 3, 4, frame 5. And then if I go to 10, I'm going to move up here and then rotate it a little bit and maybe make it a little bigger, like it's coming closer to me. I'll go to 15 and I'm going to move it over here, and then don't worry if you deselect it, you can just reselect it. Move it, twist it a little bit, and then move it down. Give it a little twist so it's upside down. The butterfly doesn't care whether it's right side or up or down. Make it a little bigger. Down some. And then over here, and it's going to go a little bit off, and then twist around. And here, and it is maybe really big, and over here, and starting to move away from you, so it's getting a little smaller. I keep moving it, and it keeps showing me each one of these little dots is a frame on my timeline. I keep moving it, and it's saving each one of these movements. You can see here each of these is a pose. A little bit smaller, and then down again, and maybe a twist, and then over here, and a twist again, and then out. And we'll just move it all the way out. Okay, so I'm going to save that. And you can see, if I go back to frame 1, that it moves. Yep, it's twisting around and it's moving again closer to us and then further away and out. To see how this looks with my movie, my little movie, the movie symbol clip that I set up so that we have automatic and I don't have to keep going through and flapping the wings again and again. Go up to your control, go to test. There it goes. And it's flapping. So that is how you use, and that's why you use a movie clip symbol as opposed to a graphic symbol. And my next movie, then I will do an alteration. I'll add to, I'll put a second butterfly in and change the colors.